Hey there fellow adult collectors, welcome back. David Eon here with another unboxing for you today. We are taking a look at the Mondo Keldor, which is the latest release from their Masters of the Universe collection. And again, you can see the outer box, and this has been an issue with every single one of them. The outer box is beat up pretty good. It's even got a hole in it up here, a couple of holes. However, they've been doing better with their interior packing, which you might have seen if you saw my last unboxing, which was both versions of the Mondo Creature from the Black Lagoon. And they had put tabs on the inside of the box to help prevent the interior box from being damaged in shipping. And we'll see if they are continuing to do that right now. And the answer is no! There are no tabs in this one. Come on, Mondo. Anyways, let's go ahead and get this out. And as you can see, this is the first I am seeing of this. And there is their traditional Snake Mountain slipcover. And hopefully, even though this got beat up pretty good, the shipping box that is, this will be in fairly decent shape. And it doesn't appear to have really sustained any notable damage, but we will see here shortly. Let me get this out of the plastic as we move along. Now, I am seeing this as you are seeing this, and I'm a fan of the Mondo Masters of the Universe, and I have all of them to date except for like specialty ones, like their what they call MOTU, like the MOTU Merman I don't have, and the metallic Skeletor I don't have, but all the Mondo exclusives I do have, and this is being added to that list. And I think the Keldor is already sold out. Let's go ahead and get that slipcover off and take a look at that Keldor artwork. And I love the box art. I love what Mondo does with the box art, because I'm a fan of box art, and I think it's a lost art when they used to put really nice artwork on packages for boxed and carded toys. And Hasbro's G.I. Joe is a great example of that. If you look at any vintage G.I. Joes, they've got fantastic artwork. Look at the other side, and there's a blue scale version of the art that was on the other side. All of the Masters of the Universe have looked like this so far. And there's Keldor, origin of Skeletor, it says. And spoiler alert, Keldor is Skeletor. This is sealed with a magnet, some paper, a little bit of a description telling you essentially who Keldor is. It says, long before he became Skeletor, he was known as Keldor, brother of King Randor, and uncle to Prince Adam. During an attack on the Hall of Wisdom, Keldor is defeated by Captain Randor, and in one final attempt to hunt his brother, Keldor throws a vial of acid at him. It backfires and disfigures Keldor. Desperate to save his life, Keldor begs his mentor Hordak to save him, and in the process transforms the man known as Keldor into the villain Skeletor. And here we have our packaged Keldor. You can't see him very well, but that's okay, because we are about to take him out and examine him firsthand. And you'll see a lot of the story, try to be careful here, on Keldor in the 200X animated series. I like to do this to lift the flap out so that I don't put a crease in here. And in that you find out basically most of what they just said. And you also find out that Keldor is technically the true heir to the throne, and that because of, well, this bent in there, it was boxed incorrectly, but that's okay. Because they don't like his species, Obviously, Keldor is blue. That's right, they tape these, don't they? I always forget. Or is this one taped? I'm looking for the tape seal. Usually this tape. I guess not. Alright, we'll just take the clamshell off. Because they have a prejudice against blue-skinned people, Keldor really was just trying to recover his birthright. So, in essence, Skeletor is not necessarily the bad guy, folks. You still can't really see him. But we're going to go ahead and get him out of there and stand him up and take a good detailed look. And then we're going to test his articulation and head and hand change outs and everything. And then we're going to pose him in the museum. So let's cut away and get started. And here we are back with our Mondo 1/6 scale Keldor out of the box with all of his accessories laid out. And we'll go ahead and start looking at the details on this. And, you know, I'm a fan, I said, of the Mondo 1/6 scale figures anyways. And I like that they did Keldor, because Keldor is a figure that doesn't get done very often. I mean, there's a lot of Skeletors, a lot of He-Mans. Keldor, however, doesn't get done that often. And so I was like, yeah, Keldor. And of course, you know, LPH, my lovely wife and co-host, is a fan of Masters of the Universe as well, but she does not have any of the Mondos. She did get the Mondo Creature from the Black Lagoon, though, because she's a fan of the Universal Monsters, and she thought that would be a good place to start with 6 scale. And the sculpt on it was good, although I did have a lot of mechanical issues with the Creature from the Black Lagoon, which, you know, if you're interested in seeing that video, you can find it in our archives. I like the bulkiness of the Mondo figures. They don't feel flimsy. They don't feel like they're going to break when you touch them. I do a lot of reviews of unboxings on, you know, 6 scale and 12 scale figures. I got a ton of them on here, and I can be very critical. There's a lot of things the industry does that I don't like, and one of those things is figures that feel cheap. You spent hundreds of dollars on something, and then you handle it, and it feels like it's just going to fall apart in your hands. And Mondo figures don't feel like that. They feel solid. And they've got very thick wrist joints. And I really like that, because breaking wrists is a common problem with 6 scale figures. Any Hot Toys guys out there want to chime in on that one? 12 scale also, Mondo, a lot of broken wrists. Happens to people all the time. These are kind of chunky, bulky construction. The musculature of them can add some limitations, but overall pretty decent. And we're going to take a look at the accessories, and we'll start with this. He's got a nice big cape. Very, very big cape, as you can see. I don't even know if I can go back far enough to show you just how big this piece is. But that should drape nicely. All fabric, no wires in it. It's going to hang, and it's got a real metal chain, like similar to Skeletor's cape. And you'll see a lot of kit bashing with this as well. I mean, you can look at this, and if you've seen the other Mondo figures, you know the body's been done, redone body, redone baldric and sash, and there's a lot on here. You can look at it and say, I've seen that with other figures, and even the pieces here. You can make the argument that you've seen these pieces with some of the other Mondo figures that have already been done. We'll start off with the swords. He's got a pair of twin swords. I don't know if there's a place on the back where they can be attached, but we've seen these swords before. This is a kit bash. But they still look good. They work. They are made of plastic, but they're not flimsy. That's another problem I have, is with like really flimsy accessories. I know I had the QMX Princess Bride Dread Pirate Roberts figure, and that sword is so incredibly thin, I'm afraid to even touch it. A couple of grasping hands, and of course these would be for the swords or for the other accessory. I don't think the other accessory will fit in here. It looks too bulky for these hands, but the swords should work very well with these hands like that. And the hands are kind of rubbery, so you can, finagle it. A couple of trigger finger hands, because he does have 2 pistols, and that pistol should look familiar too. I'm pretty sure my Merman has the same pistol. A pair of fists so that he can pound on people, give fist bumps to other figures. See the veins on the backs of his hands, and the nails, knuckle wrinkles and such. Here's the pistols. I would like it if the pistols were bored down a little bit more. But that's okay. And these are plastic. Or is it rubbery? More rubbery than plastic? Yeah, that feels a little bit rubbery to me. The vial of acid, the poison that was meant for Randor and ended up scarring Keldor for life. And this does not open, and it's just made to look like a bottle. Again, this feels kind of rubbery also, and I suppose it can fit in the hand that's open, the hand that is on the figure rather. And I've noticed, like, don't you fall, Keldor. No accidents. Can go in the hand like that. I noticed that he has fingernails on these hands, but on the other hands there are normal looking, just cut fingernails. Obviously these were kit bashed from the Skeletor figure, and whoever sculpted this didn't think of that. They didn't even paint these nails to make them black or anything. They just made regular fingernails, because this is kit bashed. This is probably He-Man's hands, just painted blue or colored in blue. But there are some original pieces, first of which is this skull with flames that is, I guess, the accident skull, and it does have a hinged jaw, which is pretty cool. And I don't think, and I think this is a missed opportunity, this vial does not glow. If it was me, I would have either made it so that there was an actual liquid in here for effect, or made it so that it glowed, and it does not. I don't think this does either. And I just checked it really quick, and it does not glow. And that's another missed opportunity, I think. It would have been nice if they did this so that it would glow. It wouldn't have cost really much more than what they already invested in the manufacturing of this skull. A couple of missed opportunities there. And the other head is this one. Also with a hinged jaw. Works better than the other version, because this is the hooded head, and this skull looks like it comes off the peg like that. And my original Mondo Exclusive Skeletor is supposed to do this, and you see how it pivots in there? It's supposed to come off, and I cannot get the skull face out, and I don't want to damage it because there are face changes, there are plates, and I can't use them because it won't come off. This one came out really nicely, and you can do, like, you can make his head turn from side to side inside the hood. That's a nice little effect there. Ha ha ha. And then the stand, standard ball hugger stand. I don't like these for action figures. Most of the time the figures are too top heavy for them. They topple over. I've had a lot of problems with these, especially with the Mondo ones, although this one's hinged in there really good. The earlier Mondo ones like this, the peg would fall out and then the figure would end up falling over. This one is rooted in there pretty good, so it should work, but I've had to ditch a couple of the Mondo stands in the past. Now let's take a look at Keldor. Let's get him up close and personal here and just take a good look at his details and test his articulation. Very, very limited head movement. His head does not really move at all, and that's very obviously because of all the hair. And that's not an effect from the lighting. These lines, 1, 2, and 3, if you can see it, and I think there's even another one on the top, that's painted on, and I guess it's to give the hair sheen. But very, very limited head articulation because of that hair. It doesn't want to move. Now the rest of the articulation should be similar to the other figures. A little piece of paper stuck under his armpit. Upper arm movement and rotation at the shoulder is pretty good. Elbow, it's only going to be single jointed, and that's obviously because of the massive biceps that he has. You can only bend this so far. These gauntlets, they do come off. If you remove the hand, that gauntlet is going to come off. There's the wrist articulation. Works very well. And I'll go ahead and change a hand really quickly and show you what that looks like. Pops right out. Nice thick joint. As I pointed out, that does come off if you wanted to discard it. Look, it says R inside, so you know which one it goes on. And hand change, no problem. Worked very easily. Ab crunch. Restricted. It could be from the baldric. I've had issues with that ab crunch on the other figures. Doesn't want to shift. Side to side tilt, limited. Rotation side to side. At the top, you get good rotation at the top, and then waist rotation. This piece does come off if you wanted to do him traditional, like furry underwear style. They all have that feature. There is nothing under here to attach the swords to that I can see, and I will be changing out his head here in a moment. Splits to about there. Forward motion to about there. Backward motion about so far. And all that creaking is the rubber. And that's interesting. You see how soft the this portion is? They're usually not this soft. This portion of the body is usually not that rubbery. I also noticed that the inside of that is blue now, and they might have done that to prevent some paint rub, because that's been a complaint from some of the consumers about paint rub. Double jointed knee, and the peg came out, but it is a peg. It'll go back in, so he's not broken, just disconnected. And that's good that that happens instead of it snapping off. Seated split, about right there. Rotation is at the ankle, not at the calf. Tilt, very limited tilt. Very limited turn. Up and down. Side to side, very limited. If you pull the foot off, I imagine that the Sabaton should come off. Perhaps not. It doesn't look like it actually. Now that I look up in there, I don't think that Sabaton's going to come off. I think it's going to stay connected to his leg. They've also changed the way they do the boots. Oh, 2001 Mattel. They changed the way they did the boots or the feet because it used to have a very odd angle cut, and when you turn the foot you got a lot of foot rotation, but it looked very odd. It looked very odd if you've handled these before. Now let me go ahead and try the head change, and then, oh, that came right off. Is that right? No, it is not. The wrong part separated. Look at that. That's supposed to stay inside his head. The wrong piece came off. See? Wow. Fancy that. Let's try a different head. The classic Skeletor head. That's kind of neat, actually. I like this head. I like how it moves inside the hood. And hopefully, oh, and the jaw came off. Wow, he's just falling apart on me. Gosh. Let's get his head off. At least that came off the right way. And it looks like just 2 pegs, and that should go right back. Should go right back. Alright, it's back on there, but it's very loose. Very loose. That's just a couple of little concerning issues there. A couple of things. And the accident head, that's kind of really tight. That doesn't want to go on. And I don't want to break them. There we go. That's the I just got splashed with the acid face. And the jaw still works. Help me, Hordak. I'll do anything. So let's go ahead and get him down into the museum and get him lined up with the others and see how he looks. Alright, and here we go, coming down into the Open by Chance museum, and the place where we used to have the 6 scale figures no longer has them because they've been moved. They've been moved out here into the other area. This is where all the modern stuff is, including the 6 scale figures, including the new Mondo Keldor mixed in with the rest of the Masters of the Universe Mondo figures. And here you see where I had to substitute stands on the Skeletor and the He-Man because the ball hugger stands just weren't cutting it, and these barely are, even though they clip better. Mondo's gotten better about the stands holding together, but there's still the possibility of them toppling over, which I don't like. Now the boots are completely new. I like the change in the boots, but it limits the articulation. Obviously, again, you can see that he's totally kit bashed from other figures and reassembled, and even the skull, because this is the skull that came with the He-Man as an exclusive. When you got the original He-Man from Mondo, if you bought it directly from Mondo, you got this skull, which is supposed to be a faceplate change-out for this Skeletor, although that skull won't come out, so I wasn't able to change it. It'll probably go in there, because that is the skull, that is the hood, the body, the baldric, the sash, the hands, the claw hands. Here's the blue hands on Faker, the trigger finger hands that are on this figure. The swords, I believe, have been done. Who has the swords? Here we go. It's a modification of Skeletor's original sword, but without the goat's head on top. I knew it was there somewhere. I knew I had seen this before. They just changed the top. And there is Merman's pistol, which he is holding two of. So he's almost entirely a kit bash, with the exception of the change in the feet, the different skull, the burning skull, the bottle, and the Keldor head. Even the cape. I mean, there is the cape again. There is a difference in the cape, though. This is flat on the bottom, and that has more of a tattered look. I don't mind that so much. I like the figure overall. I'm a fan of the Mondo Masters, and the more they go into this, the better they get, as far as especially sculpts. Like you see, the merman there looks absolutely fantastic. That's one of the best mermen that have ever been done. And then the man-at-arms, really excellent sculpt, although he's extremely top-heavy, very difficult to pose. Scareglow's pretty cool. I do feel like this figure was a bit rushed. Again, you saw what happened with the Keldor head, with the knee. I did have an issue also with this wrist. When I changed the hand out, the wrist unit opened up, came apart. I was able to snap it back together without a problem, but that's a bit much to have so many pieces loose, so I think they kind of rushed it. Although from the time that they put it up for sale to shipping was very short, and that's kind of a nice change of pace for 6th scale figures, where we are in a world where you pre-order a 6th scale figure and you wait like a freaking year for them to get around to shipping it. Not with Keldor. I think it shipped within a couple of weeks after the pre-orders were put in. Hordak was supposed to be next, and so we're waiting to see when Hordak is going to come up. They've also alluded to Trapjaw, which would be interesting, and also a She-Ra. And it'd be interesting to see how they do She-Ra, if they do it. I'm going with this head for now. I like the quick draw Skeletor look here. Kind of liking that. Overall, I'm satisfied with it as far as the price, the scale, everything that came with it. Again, I'm a fan of Mondo, although they have been getting a little bit more expensive. They've been kind of inching up there. What do you think? What do you think of the Keldor? Is this one that you would like for your collection? Are you a fan of Mondo? Do you have any of the Mondos? Is this something you'd be interested in looking into? Tell me what your thoughts are in the comments section down below. Did I help you to make a decision for or against, and why? Please do give the video a thumbs up if you got something out of it. I hope that you did. Share it if you can. Subscribe if you're new, all that good stuff. Check out our other videos. I do other unboxings of modern figures. I do museum tours, convention tours. There's the Creature of the Black Lagoons. Both of them sitting there. Vintage showcases, toy, adult, and industry discussions. So plenty to see for the adult child, or kidult if you will. So if that's it, what more can I say? But thanks for watching, and we will see you again soon.